Hello and welcome to the Best and Worst Pictures podcast. I'm your host, Jake, and with me, as always, my good co-host, Ian.
That's me. Good job not fucking up the intro as much today.
And joining us, as per usual, is my other better-than-Ian co-host, Mud. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great,
Wow, I
Jake.
gave you
You
a
know, you're a
compliment.
great host. You
I
know that?
try,
You're
I
the
try.
Oh,
best.
Mud fucking up the words today.
I appreciate
I
Mud
always
just,
fuck up, not like Jake though.
patting me on the back.
Jake never fucks up. I always fuck up.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
canon. What is this show, you might ask? Every week, the three of us idiots sit down and review a Best Picture winner over the past 100 years or so and determine if it's one of the best or worst pictures as compared to the others. This week, we're discussing the 7th Best Picture winner ever, 1934's It Happened One Night. And to start us off, Mud has collected some fun facts about the film, which Ian and I have not heard ahead of time. Mud, take it away.
Well, thank you, Jake. So the film was released on February 22nd of 1934. It was directed by Frank Capra and stars Clark Gable, Claudette Colbert, and Walter Connolly.
The jazzed for Clark Gable.
Yeah. It has an 8.1 out of 10 rating on IMDb, 98% Rotten Tomato critics, and 87% on Metacritic. Now, Frank Capra should actually be a familiar name to you guys. He has an extensive body of work, including You Can't Take It With You, It's a Wonderful Life, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, and Lady for a Day.
At least one or two of those won, right? You Can't Take It With You, I think, won.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll circle back to that.
Sure.
Once they win. But Lady for a Day, he was nominated for Best Director. Now, you guys might remember last week when I told you about the Come and Get It Frank snafu. He was the other
he's
Frank.
Frank.
He's the incorrect Frank. Frank Lloyd, the guy who won last week, will also win next week.
Okay.
It's a Frankapalooza at the
Jesus
Oscars
Christ.
right now.
Dude, fucking next year, Frank. I'm calling it. Put money down.
Yeah. So that's who Frank Capra is. He's been mentioned already. He's the guy who
Nice.
went up on stage thinking he won, not realizing it was the other Frank.
But then he did.
Yeah. But then he won this year, actually, which we'll get to. He's also a World War I vet and from Italy. So I was pretty happy
Good for
about that.
him.
Yep. Now, let's get into the cast. I'm going to start with Walter Connolly because he's probably the least well-known name on this list. He's not in a whole lot. The only other thing I could find he was in Lady for a Day, also with Frank Capra, so he's a consistent actor with this guy. And he's from Ohio, was my fun fact.
Sick.
There's no fun facts about Ohio. As for Claudette Colbert, our leading lady, she was also known for the 1934 film Cleopatra, which received as many nominations at the Oscars this year as It Happened One Night, including Best Picture. She was also in For the Love of Mike, which was her acting debut, and it was a silent film directed by Frank Capra. We'll get back to that. She was also in a film called Tomorrow Is Forever, which has no relevancy on this show, but I wrote it down because it sounds like a James Bond movie.
I almost just said it sounds like, yeah.
Yeah. And finally, our leading man, Clark Gable. Now, there's not enough I can say about this guy. He's known as the King of Hollywood, and like Walter Connolly, he's from Ohio.
Gotta say, Ian and I have seen minimal Clark Gable movies. However, he is an icon to us. We are massive
We've seen
Clark
every
Gable
Clark
fans.
Gable
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah, we've seen the Universal Monsters Bond. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
we're about to see another one. He was also a major in the Air Forces. Not World War I, World War II.
Ooh.
So that's
Clark
after
Gable?
this.
Huh.
Yeah, I know. He's kind of cool.
You said Clark Gable?
Yeah.
The director also fought in World War II for the American Army.
Yeah, and he fought in World War I as well.
Yep.
Sick.
As for is also known, I went a little light, and I wrote down he's known for a little thing called Mutiny on the Bounty, which
Right,
is what
that's
we're
the
watching
next
next week.
one. Yep.
So that's a little teaser. for
Kind
the
of funny
audience.
that one of the Best Picture winners was a criticism of doing war, and then Clark Gable's like, let's do some war.
It was released by Columbia Pictures, which was not Clark Gable's normal studio. He worked for MGM.
Yep.
He was actually loaned to Columbia for this project because they were paying him like $2,000 a week, whether or not he was working.
Yo, can we borrow your Clark Gable?
Yeah. So let's run down the cavalcade of fun facts I have about this
That's
film.
funny.
It's based on a short story called Night Bus by Samuel Hopkins Adams.
Okay.
That's pretty much the only thing that there is there. As for the film itself, getting production up off the ground was tumultuous, to say the least. Neither Colbert nor Gable were the first picks for their roles. In fact, the leading lady role was initially offered to Miriam Hopkins, Myrna Loy, Margaret Sullivan, Constance Bennett, Betty Davis, Carol Lombard, who, side fun fact, is Clark Gable's future ex-wife, and
wow.
Lorette Young. They all turned it down. Colbert also turned it down because of her work on For the Love of Mike with Capra, left such a bad taste in her mouth with Capra that she never wanted to work with him again.
Wow.
She eventually agreed for double her normal pay and a promise that the film would be done in 4 weeks so she could go on vacation.
Damn.
Yep. Upon completing the film, Colbert reportedly told friends, "I just finished the worst picture in the world."
Ooh.
Wow.
And both actors heavily disliked the script at the beginning of filming.
That's insane.
I know.
That's absolutely insane.
Crazy.
Now let's get into the Academy Awards. This film is a record setter. At the time, it was the first film to win the Big Five: Best Director, Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Adapted Script.
That is, yeah, wow.
Sick.
Yep. It also set the record for highest clean sweep to this point with 5. It beat out Wings, which had the record of 2.
Yeah, but
For a
that's
clean-
the
yeah, that's
first
nothing.
one.
It won more than one. Yeah, it also beat out both Cavalcade and Cimarron to have the highest total wins of Oscars by a single film.
Wow, thank God.
Yeah, both of those had 3. This one set it at 5. Colbert decided not to attend the Oscars ceremony even after being nominated because she didn't think she would win. After she was announced as the winner, a studio chief ordered someone to go find her and bring her in so she could accept the award. She was at a train station about to leave on vacation.
That's amazing.
Yep. As for winning Best Picture itself, it beat out 11 films, including The Barretts of Wimpole Street, Flirtation Walk, The Gay Divorcee, Here Comes the Navy, The House of Rothschild, The Thin Man, One Night of Love, Imitation of Life, Viva Villa, The White Parade, and of course, as I mentioned before, Cleopatra, starring Claudette Colbert.
Imagine getting nominated for 2 movies in the same year.
Well, she wasn't nominated like acting-wise. It was just
Ah,
both
okay.
Best Pictures had her in them. I mean, we saw that similarly in the 2019 Best Pictures.
Mhm.
Like Scarlett Johansson's in 2 of them. You know, like people make more than one film.
Oh yeah, it's just a honor to have like multiple films get nominated and shit.
This film is also iconic for some of its scenes, which have been parodied in other works, such as the hitchhiking scene and the wedding scene, which was famously parodied in the wedding scene in the movie Spaceballs.
Oh really?
Mm-hmm.
That's
Scene slaps.
dope.
And to round it out, this year also saw the release of Why Not Try God, a book by Mary Pickford which touts Christian Science.
Ah, so tight.
Yep.
I love Mary Pickford facts.
Me too.
Well, with all that out of the way, let's get into the movie. So, who wants to start this amazing discussion?
Yo, Clark Gable slaps.
Clark Gable does slap.
I've never seen a Clark Gable film. So when you guys hyped him up, I want to say I thought it was a meme that you guys were just hyping up Clark Gable because he used to be a big fucking deal back in the day. And I was a little worried he was going to be one of those like 30s actors who just does the same thing
Yeah.
in every movie, but everyone hypes him up as like being the king of whatever. No, that is not true at all. He was fantastic in this film. I'm like, oh my God, he is beautiful.
He's
I
so
don't think
good.
we're gonna see a better actor until maybe like the 50s or 60s.
Maybe.
He's so talented. Although,
Until we start seeing some like De Niro's and stuff.
yeah, we'll see. some.
Marlon Brando, too.
Oh my God, Brando.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Clark Gable is spectacular. I went into this movie, I was excited because as we mentioned before we started watching the movie, on that little intro we usually do, yeah, Ian and I are huge fans of Clark Gable, even though we have not seen a whole lot of Clark Gable movies. Oh my God, does he live up to the hype
Oh yeah.
and exceeds it? I would
There's
argue.
a reason he's the king of Hollywood.
I would
Yeah.
argue that as excited as I was to see him, my expectations were exceeded. As far as like,
Yeah.
it's weird too because like his character keeps switching. Like there are parts where he plays certain like fake roles in this movie, like when the people are sneaking into the house. To get into spoilers immediately, when they're sneaking into the house and he pretends to be like a wife beater drunk idiot, and he switches right back.
Dude,
right
that
after.
scene is so good.
It's such a
Very
good
good scene.
I'm really mad you brought that up so early because I wrote down, man, this scene with the detectives fucking slaps. He is electric. That feels like modern acting. Still, that is so good.
You know what else brings to it? The dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these older films sometimes can have like weird dialogue that seems to be written without time.
Yep.
You know? But this movie, the dialogue's so quick and so snappy, which makes sense because it's supposed to be a comedy film.
Supposed to be slapstick comedy.
It's supposed to be a screwball comedy.
Yep.
Yeah,
is what
Mutt,
it's
I
called.
know what you mean exactly because I've been watching a lot of The Twilight Zone, and every episode when the main character realizes something's wrong, they go, "What is this? Some kind of gag?" Or something like
Yeah.
that. Something no one says anymore, or something like
Yeah.
along the.
What are you having a gas?
Someone pulling my leg? What's going on?
Are you tugging my johns?
All right,
Like,
what's the?
Are you
gig
jerking
here?
me off?
no, that's
No,
fine.
it's
That's
not.
fine.
Yeah, no,
That's
I
not
know
what
what you
it
mean though.
Yeah.
But like writing in the 30s and 40s, maybe it's just because that time period is
Language
almost
has
100 years
changed.
ago. Yeah, language has changed, the lexicon has changed, vernacular has changed.
Sure.
Like it just sounds so weird and timeless as if you're floating in a void.
Yep.
It's like how you expect elves to talk if they'd never met a human.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Call
You
me
know-
a brat. Yeah.
calling her a brat. Like nowadays, it would be like, wow, this woman's a real fucking bitch.
Yep.
Exactly.
You know, maybe we've devolved as a
I
species.
really like the dichotomy between both of them.
Mud, I don't know if you have it written down, but is this the last pre-code?
It is.
Okay.
We'll talk more about that
Yes, we will.
next week.
We
I
will.
haven't brought the code up because it hasn't been relevant
Sure.
until it's when it's enforced.
Sure, but just to
This one came out, I think, 4 months before the code really came
Sure,
down.
sure. Well, just I was bringing that up simply because this movie, even though it's pre-code, seems incredibly tame.
But it's not a bad thing that it's tame.
Not a bad thing.
No,
Not,
it
not a
works.
bad.
It
I
works
just
in
expected
solid
a
way.
movie that's pre-code implies that there's like no restrictions and
We
no
were,
bounds.
we were joking about that. We were watching it. I was like, Jake, pre-code doesn't mean there was literally no rules. It's not like you could put out like a kids movie and have them go, all right, kids, today we're going to fucking learn some colors.
Yeah, but what kids movie would do that?
Well, my point is there's still standards
Fair.
outside of
Yeah.
the code.
Fair.
You know, the code was just like a big
Yeah, the code was just enforcing everything. You know what I mean?
yeah, but I'm just saying there's still an understanding of what you can and can't put in a movie. It's
No,
not
I
like
agree.
it's not like it was completely lawless. It's not like, you know,
Mm-hmm.
this dude's like taking his ass out because they treated films like an extension of theater.
Back to the movie, I really, I've already talked about how great Clark Gable is at acting, but like these characters and the way they're written, I'm gonna spark a big discussion, I'm sure.
Oh,
with all of us.
absolutely.
But these characters seem really genuine. Like so many movies from this period, even on this show we've watched for Best Picture-thon, feel paper thin and corny and really kind of auxiliary or just there to
Yeah.
serve the plot.
There's been very few great characters so far. I'd
Right.
argue.
And I'd say these are two of the best characters we've seen in Best
I
Picture-thon.
think Clark Gable, his character Peter, might be the most complex, deep, well-acted character that we've seen.
He's like the Baron from Grand Hotel, but even better.
Yes.
100%. Yeah.
Just in the idea of like he's a guy who's trying to only look out for himself,
Right.
but he can't help but be a good person to other people.
Right, and Baron from the hotel, I mean, he started to like devolve into that cartoony kind of nature, whereas Clark Gable just sells it.
Yeah, the
100%.
entire time.
Yep.
The whole time.
Absolutely phenomenal.
It's
There's a
good.
reason that this man, I think without him, acting in Hollywood isn't even remotely good, like as good as it is now. Like that's the pinnacle of early acting, and he does it for like 20 more years.
He set the standard during
Yeah.
the golden age of Hollywood.
Yes,
Yep.
he did.
Like that is the standard.
That is a hell of a high standard.
Like
though.
I've never seen him in motion before or acting, and I've
Mhm.
only seen a photo of him when he's like super old. I'm like, dude, you look like fucking Walt Disney.
Yeah.
like
He
you-
does look kind of like Walt Disney.
He does look like a lot,
Should've played
especially when he was older. He looks a
Mhm.
lot like Walt Disney.
Should have played him.
Oh, that would have been a great film.
Yeah.
Except I would have wanted it to come out like now
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't want like the 60s
and
era.
not produced by Disney.
Produced by Disney where
No,
everything's
not
like,
produced by Disney. That would
No,
be terrible.
you need a realistic.
No, I mean like it'd be like a fairy tale movie. you
Yeah,
know?
whatever. It would be like out of Jimmy's head.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's a deep cut. No, so I've never really seen him in like motion before. So I was expecting like how do I make this analogy without pissing people off?
Don't just piss people off.
All right, fine. It's like Frank Sinatra, where everyone hypes him up for being like amazing and great, but he actually has like no range in his voice, and all his songs sound the fucking same.
Yeah, but
Mud-
Sinatra's great.
Mud, that is a fair
That's a
criticism.
freezing cold take. That's an awful take. I'm mad at you.
I don't like
Sinatra's
Frank.
really talented.
I'm not a fan of Sinatra. So the point I'm trying to make is he's hyped up to be like this amazing actor, but like I was really worried he wasn't actually gonna have any range, and he was just gonna be like this like stoic white guy chain smoking in the corner, talking like this, you know, a real man's man.
Or if I ain't him, but I didn't die. With all that garbage where they
Yeah,
just
exactly.
talk so fast.
But
you
no,
can't
he's got
understand.
range, he's got depth, he's got a great emotions. Like
Yep.
Clark Gable is a genuinely
God,
fantastic
no, I'm
actor.
kidding.
So is Claudette Colbert,
Yep,
who
she's fantastic.
played Eileen. She was great in this. Although I felt like in a couple scenes she got a little too in that, "Ooh, I'm a woman in the 30s. I'm a dumb broad slut." You
Yeah.
know, where she like literally couldn't comprehend shit.
Yeah. She there one criticism about her character that I don't think is really a criticism. She's not very independent at all.
See,
She
but
relies,
that's
I think that's part of the movie, but
that is part of the movie though.
Yeah.
Is like her. That's a plot point. He's like, I hate that you're so dependent on others because she was raised by like a rich daddy who spoiled her.
exactly. And
And-
I think that's really, really good. It is kind of damning since it's the 30s and women were independent because they weren't thought as highly of.
I mean, I don't know. I think like her characterization is more or less spot on because
Yeah.
a rich, spoiled brat would jump off that boat.
No, it makes sense.
you know.
It makes perfect sense.
Yeah, especially someone who's in like her early 20s like that, where she's
21.
like, I know everything,
Yep.
Dad.
Yeah, I think it totally fits. As
No,
opposed
it definitely
to,
fits. It's just very telling of the time how
Right.
she's acting.
as opposed to something like I don't know in Wings, where like that girl was just there to be in love with the main guy and
Yeah,
no
I
other
don't even remember
purpose,
his
you know.
name.
But like this, I feel like I really, really like their interplay. That's what sells me on the movie. Like, if their acting and their writing is not nearly as good as it is, the movie doesn't work.
No, not
Like,
at all.
the movie would be far less good.
It would remind me of Cavalcade, where everything was happening. I'm like, this is fucking
Right.
boring.
Like this, as opposed to Wings, where it's more about the war. This is about these two. So if
Yes.
those two are not effective, the movie falls apart.
Yep.
So it's one of the reasons I didn't like Cavalcade. The characters were not effective. But anyway,
There's no character in
If your
Cavalcade.
main characters are not memorable, effective, or interesting, your movie sucks.
I know.
That's just a fact.
I would say these are all three. These characters here.
Yeah, they're really good. I understand
Especially in
why
a character-driven movie like this.
it's a character film, yeah. And you need good character actors.
And the plot seems like a background aspect.
Yeah.
The plot of this movie doesn't matter. They matter.
So
Right.
we've talked a little bit in this show where we discuss why a certain Best Picture won. This definitely feels like
Acting.
one that was one for acting.
Solely on acting and writing.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing technically impressive about this film at all.
No, not really. It's very
Actually,
simple. It's very
There's
bare
some
bones.
Yeah,
really,
get into
really
it.
bad cuts in this movie
Oh
towards
my
the beginning.
God.
There's some weird jumps and cuts. This one of the first scenes when they're in the hotel, she's standing with her arms crossed, and then it cuts back and she's standing with her arms crossed again.
Yeah, I saw that. She's standing with her arms crossed. She moves. It cuts. She's standing with her arms crossed. She
Yep.
moves again.
Yep, there are two scenes at the beginning where the cuts don't match, and then that scene in particular where she moves and then it cuts back and then she moves again.
It's fucking awful.
And oh my god, this movie's only transition is a side wipe. I feel like I'm turning a page of a book.
We haven't found the Best Picture that won for editing yet.
Dog, I don't think we're gonna get there for a grip. This movie, acting, writing,
Directing.
I don't know, the director helps edit those films, so I'm gonna give him credit, Mr. Frank, not Frank.
Capra.
I found it. The Best Picture that wins for editing. It's Gone with the Wind.
That's 5 from now? 4 from now?
Five.
It's not even the next Gable. We have another Gable ahead.
We have Gable in between that and The Gable.
Hell yeah.
But I think one of the most important things to take away is this is one of the first Best Pictures where the sound editing doesn't blow.
Oh my god, yeah. There's good sound design in this film.
I wouldn't say good. It's barely noticeable. It's not like it's like beautiful, amazing soundtrack. That
It's
really,
not blowing the mixer. It's
It
not
doesn't
blowing
blow the mixer. It's not shit tier audio ADR. It's just like, wow, the movie sounds normal.
Yeah.
Wow.
Maybe because it's a
The
dialogue
mid-tier
driven.
standard of a movie. Holy shit.
Maybe because there's not a lot of action moments and it's a lot of character driven,
Yep.
so it's just talking, which doesn't need to be super loud or anything. I feel like I have a lot to talk about just how the film's structured. I really like the journey aspect of their story. I feel like in films that derive from this, it's kind of a cliche to have the environment also play a factor in breaking them up. They didn't do that in this film. There's no moment where they both get covered in mud and blow up at each other and like fucking storm off in opposite directions.
There's no
and then-
movie where one of them gets stuck on the other side of the river and they yell at each other over it. Like, it's very, very together. Their struggles are theirs.
It's reasonable.
Yes.
You know, there's no scene where they lose everything and like flip out at each other.
Yeah.
You know, because I feel like that's a cliche of like these kind of like two opposites traveling together to a shared destination sort of
Yep.
sort of story. Because this is definitely a template film
Yeah.
for a lot of films that I can think of
In the
off the top
middle,
of my
in
head.
the middle of a movie, normally like something dumb happens where they go their separate ways and then meet back up. That doesn't really happen in this one. When she misses the train, but he waits for her on purpose.
It was a bus.
Yeah, thank you. She misses the bus. He waits for her on purpose. The only time they get split up is when she's like, "Oh, he left me here."
But that's the end of their journey.
But that's A, the end of the journey. B, a reasonable assumption
yeah.
because he's gone.
Yeah, this is a really solid 3-act structure of a movie.
Yeah.
I think like it doesn't really have. We just watched a movie that had a lot of fat in it. There's no fat to trim here.
No.
No, not at all.
it's
The
lean.
last movie I would argue could be cut entirely. But this one is all necessary. I can't even think of a scene where I'm like, this is fucking dumb or this isn't funny. Like there's some comedy scenes in this movie. Like
Oh my god, this movie makes you
this
laugh.
movie's funny. Like this is actually a pretty decent comedy. Like it's not all funny, but he's like, I like a girl with class, class with a big K, and I'm like, you're illiterate, sir.
Right, but like
Hilarious.
a lot
Like,
of Clark
some-
Gable's one-liners are really good.
Oh,
Yes,
it's
because he's
got
so
many
good.
good one-liners.
Mm-hmm.
If his character isn't played by as good of an actor, some of them don't land. Because it's the way he delivers a lot of his one-liners, like with a little bit of zip and punch and just force that has everything
He's got wit.
in it. Yes, he would fit very well in a modern day time, and because of the way he quips.
Mm-hmm.
It's natural. It doesn't feel like he's acting.
No.
He's just here.
I wrote that a lot of characters. I found this very funny because it's kind of like a cliche of the time. People would end a sentence with "say."
Yeah.
I thought that was no. It's real.
Phenomenally written.
There are some weird moments towards the beginning though that kind of put me off.
My thing was just the editing and how the beginning interaction with her father was really
I don't know if you noticed this, but after she leaves, the headline is "Daughter escapes again."
Yes,
She's
it's
done this before.
multiple times. So that's why I felt it was weird a little bit. Because that's a very weird newspaper title.
I think this film also pioneered the cliche of spinning news magazine to deliver
Yep.
information,
Yep.
especially towards the end. There's like 8 or 9 headlines.
spinning news magazines.
It's kind of funny though.
It's very interesting to see where some of these tropes come from.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cimarron did that a lot, where we were looking at it and we were like, "Oh, that's from that." We can see
But
it
it's
in different
interesting.
movies.
It's interesting. It's like when we watch Seven Samurai and we're like, this is just this movie and that movie, and it's like,
Mhm.
oh no,
Those movies are this movie.
yeah, it's the other way
Yep.
around because this came first.
This why does this movie remind me of Bug's Life? But
that's because
Bug's
it was
Life
inspired-
copied the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although there was one scene in particular that really stood out to me. It's at their first stop. It's a minor thing where this guy comes up and steals Eileen's bag, and Peter just sprints after him with no words.
Yeah.
Runs clean past her, and then a wipe cut like you love. And then he's like,
wipe cuts.
"Yeah, your bag got stolen." And she's like, "My bag." And I'm like, "What the fuck?"
How did you not
You
realize?
have no concept of how much time has passed.
Yeah.
You don't know what he did to hunt him down.
There are a couple scenes where you don't have a context of how much time passes.
Like when Peter steals the car.
When Peter steals the car, when he goes all the way from Pennsylvania to New York to write a whole news story and then go back.
He should have left at like 3 a.m.
I feel like that's a flaw of early filmmaking. I feel
Yeah,
like
time passing is not good.
Time passing in films is weird
yeah,
sometimes.
100 years ago, I feel like filmmakers, it's not that they didn't know how, but they didn't really know how to effectively tell how
Yeah,
much
because
time
we
has
know
passed.
time passed, we just don't know how much.
Yeah.
That's the problem is we
Yep.
don't know
Yep.
how long it's been because you cut from Peter running after this guy to she's smoking, but like everyone back then smoked, so it's like did she finish?
She
and
could have
light
immediately
another?
lit one up.
Yeah,
Although, I don't even know if I can apply that criticism to the older movies, because plenty of movies every day today come out have that problem.
here's a criticism: some movies just don't know how to convey the passage of time.
Yep.
There you
That's
go.
just a fact.
Fact
That's
of
true.
life.
But I think that was really a scene that pulled me out of it for a second. I was like, wait, how long has he been gone for? Where did he go? Like, this is a scene where we should have followed Peter and not Eileen.
I agree.
Yeah.
Because it would have been way more interesting to see how he got the car, if he actually got into a scuffle with that guy, or if he just went,
He said I gave him black eye and tied him to a tree.
yeah, I would have loved to see that.
And here's the thing with Peter, it's like, is he telling the truth?
Yeah, we don't know.
Because he's kind of an asshole and he likes to say things that aren't true.
I think Peter is a mostly reliable narrator.
Yeah.
But at the beginning of the movie, the first scene we see him and he's trashed.
Yes,
He's a chronic alcoholic. His boss, John,
Fires
says-
him.
He fires him for it. And he says, when you finally sober up, call me.
At the end
Which
of
is
the
a
movie.
really, really good interaction. I think that's very underrated, actually. That in this movie, him and his boss actually end up making up because he reads his notes and realizes it was true.
What's interesting to me is everyone kind of ends up on the same side at the end of this movie.
Yeah.
Peter's boss rehires him. Eileen's father is like, you should be with
The
Peter.
only person that's not on the same side is Wesley.
Yeah, I kind of want to talk about the ending of the movie because I would say what's holding it back from like a truly amazing score for me. Not to spoil my score early, it's high.
It's a 3.
It's 3 out of 10. It's a high score, but what stops it from being like a straight up amazing, almost perfect movie? The ending really, again, this is a 100-year-old problem with movies. It just wraps everything up really quickly in like 2 minutes.
The editing even feels faster.
The
There are a
editing
couple
feels
scenes
faster.
with wipe.
An incredibly fast-paced opening scene, incredibly fast-paced ending scene.
And then really nicely paced in the middle.
Yeah, like I don't get that. Why not have your whole movie be
Yeah,
consistent?
Especially because there's no real scene where Eileen and Peter make up.
Right.
Like, we just assume that they did. She just runs away from her wedding, and it just, like, cuts to a cabin.
Right. Yeah, like I feel like if you're editing the movie and you edit 90% of this movie, like everything in the middle, to be like really well paced out, methodical, funny, charming, all this stuff, and then we got to get all the exposition out immediately at the beginning. Just edit it really
You
fast.
know what happened?
Oh, we got to wrap it up at the end. Edit it really fast.
You know what happened, dude?
Yeah.
They were at three weeks and 6 days into filming, and they were like, we got to wrap up tomorrow. Claudette's going on vacation.
Yeah, right.
That's what happened.
Yeah, exactly.
And they were just like, all right, well, she just runs off and then she finds him, and the audience knows.
And
what
they
happens.
bang in the Model T or whatever
They
happens.
bang in the cabin.
Yep.
They,
Yeah, I
they
know,
very
I know.
heavily imply sex.
I said I assumed wrongly that it was that he drove in the Model T to the cabin, which, by the way, not for nothing, but this movie and other movies like it kind of make me want a Model T.
I don't know why, dude. Model Ts are
Look,
just
I know
awful.
it's 2021, which is like literally like 100 years at least after Model Ts were a thing.
100.
But like, here's the thing: they slap.
No,
I
they
know
don't.
they're ugly visually, but they have that vintage look to them. I'm not gonna drag race one or anything. I just want to drive one. You know.
You know what's got a nice vintage look to it, dude? An original Mustang.
What? I'll do you one better. Horse. I'll ride a horse to work every day. No, I
fucking
want a
hate you
Model T so
guys.
bad. I know it's gonna get like 1 mile a gallon,
Dude.
but like if
It's
anyone,
also gonna get like 1 mile an hour
if anyone listening has a Model T, hit
for
me up.
no money.
For
'cause
no
Jake
money.
doesn't want to spend.
I think one of the best things about this movie, to get back on track, I really, really like how slow and methodical them falling in love with is.
Right.
It feels so natural. One of our biggest complaints in a lot of these older movies is, oh, man and woman on screen. Oh, I'm stalking you with the
Automatically
Hubble
fall in
telescope.
love.
Stalking you with the Hubble telescope. They fall in love very slowly, very nicely. Because she's learning through him. She's never been independent before, and she finally has to kind of fend for herself, and he still helps. He wants to help her be independent while at the same time shielding her, because he's a good person. And I really, really like that. She finally feels like her opinion matters, which she never had with her dad or Wesley.
I also think it's good because it's like if you spend, I don't know, how many days pass in this film? Like 3 or 4, maybe
Yeah.
5. It's like if you spend a couple days with someone and they're like the only person you have to talk to, you're gonna get to know them,
Mhm.
and like you're gonna figure some stuff out about them, and your opinion of them might change, and you might feel a little
Yep.
more warmly to them.
Yes.
And also, I kind of thought it was closer to like a week. Again, passage of
It
time.
happened 1 week.
Unclear what passage of time.
It's a metaphorical one night.
I don't know
Yeah.
why. I don't know where the title for this comes from.
Me either.
Nope.
It,
Nope.
it has no relevance. I don't think any characters say it.
Mm-mm.
Like, why'd you fall in love with them? Well, it happened one night. Like I don't.
Didn't
It
I
didn't
don't
happen
remember
one
that
night.
line coming through.
It didn't.
I don't
This
know
is
why
one of the
this was-
ones where I understand why most of the films are called what they are that we've watched so far. Like-
The short story's title was Night Bus, which is a terrible title for this movie. So I'm glad they changed
No,
it.
they're on the night bus.
It was like a side factor in like
Night
one
Bus
part.
to New York.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not
That would've
really
been a
like.
better title.
Walls of Jericho, way better title.
No, that's way off base.
The best line in the movie is when
What do you need
he
it for?
needs the money. I need it to tear down the walls of Jericho, because that's what he called the curtain that was in between their beds.
Yep.
That is the best line
I
in
need
the
the
film.
money to have sex.
Both Night Bus and It Happened are bad titles, but Night Bus is slightly worse.
I can't come up with a better title for this film though.
Me neither. I hate being the guy who says this thing sucks. Okay,
And then
well,
unable to replace it.
unable to. Yeah, I'm just
Clark
pointing out-
Gable's in this one.
Exactly.
Hey,
Title.
come see this is Clark Gable.
I
movie.
feel so unproductive saying like, yeah, you did something wrong. How do you fix it? I
Title it. This film won Best Picture.
don't know. Yeah, one of them.
It did.
Yep.
It did.
Yeah, but title that when it comes out.
Well deserved too. This is one of the
Oh,
ones
yeah,
that we've watched where I understand why.
Yeah,
This is one of those
absolutely.
ones where-
Oh, the hitchhiking scene was so good too.
I'd argue every.
A classic scene.
That's the scene I've seen from this movie.
I've never seen it, but I've seen a lot of homages to it.
I've seen the
classic,
original
like,
scene and I've seen
flash some
parodies.
leg, get a horny man to stop.
Yep.
Ooga.
Oh, God. That guy slammed on his brakes.
Yeah. Like that scene is so good. Just to break down a little bit. Because he always feels like he's right and he's talking himself up and he's like, this technique and this technique and this technique. And none of them work. And she's like, all right, let me give it a try. And uses her brain and figures it out immediately.
Men want coochie.
Coochie time.
The least independent character in the movie does something immediately by herself in the face of him thinking she's a spoiled dumb brat who can't do anything.
And he's not like mad about it. He's impressed.
He's silently impressed. He doesn't want to give her credit because he's like, I'm just stupid.
Another woman.
He's like, I'm just fucking dumb. But he's like, God damn it, she did it. Son of
No,
a
it's a
bitch.
good
Like,
scene.
It's a really good
And
scene.
it's also good character growth
Yes.
for Eileen. Because that's really the first time that she bails them out of a situation.
yes,
and not Peter.
he's the one bailing her out every
Constantly.
single time, and she finally gets to bail him out. And I think that's when I think that's probably the moment where he realizes, oh, I like this person. Oh no,
Yeah.
I think that might be the moment.
Oh no, I'm in love.
Yeah, I think that's the moment.
It's a good moment. It's a really good character moment.
It is.
And I think it's a classic moment in cinema.
This movie is full of them.
Yes, this movie is good character moment.
Yep. And kind of to tie everything together, because I kind of want to just get to it. I'm gonna give it an 8. I was so close to 9, But as of right now, it's just a solid, great movie that I would absolutely watch again. I don't know if it's my best picture yet ever so far.
No.
I don't know.
I think it's right underneath.
Yeah, I think this is better than Wings.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Either this or All Quiet. I don't know.
What this movie does that I think almost every Best Picture's failed to do is make me interested in any of these characters, man. Because All Quiet, our main character, is so fucking interesting, and Clark Gable is also so fucking interesting. But what this movie has is the better writing, and the ensemble cast is more like overall stronger.
Yeah.
A lot of All Quiet's ensemble cast isn't really in the movie, or they just kind of disappear.
Right, and I'd say All Quiet isn't necessarily hinging on the characters. It's hinging on the setting and the wartime and stuff like that.
It's
But-
the message of All Quiet that makes it awesome.
exactly. Whereas this movie is about these two leads. You know?
The characters make this one really good, and the setting and how it's written and how it's portrayed in All Quiet is what makes it better.
Okay.
This is one of the really, really interesting takes that we've had. Like, we haven't seen this yet. That's why I'm so excited and like gushing over the acting
Right.
and everything going on, is we haven't seen anything like this yet. I think the closest we've got is the Baron from Grand Hotel.
Yeah.
And Clark Gable blows out of the fucking water.
Yeah, he does.
Like, I'm not gonna discredit.
Was it you who said that he's a better version of the
Yeah,
Baron?
I was the one who fired. That was kind of what sparked the conversation.
Right,
Like, you're right.
I agree.
Just in the sense of like this like kind of roguish independent man who kind of can't help but be a really good person to other people.
Right, and that kind of might be his downfall at certain points, you know.
Yeah, he doesn't get beat to death in this film.
Yeah,
no.
he does not get absolutely wrecked in
Can I
this
point out
movie.
something weird to you guys real quick?
Sure.
It was just a little gripe that I have, but she keeps calling him young man at the beginning of the movie. He's older than her.
He is.
But like, look at them. We're looking at them right now. Look how young she looks. He looks 30. She looks 20. He looks 30.
Real quick, bring up Clark Gable. Let's see what year he was born.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was 1901, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he died at
Which
59.
makes him about 30s.
So
or
how
early
old,
30s.
Let's check how old Claudette is.
33. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
3.
they're above
He's
30.
2 years older than
But
her.
she looks. So, look at this man.
So they're both about 30 in this, which totally
But
fits.
she looks way younger than he does, and she's like, "Young man." She's supposed to be.
It's really funny that they're both in their 30s because I think they're supposed to be in their 20s.
Yeah, she's supposed to be 21.
She passes.
She passed for
He
21.
Yes, she does. He
kinda
doesn't.
passes.
He looks like
I mean,
a man.
I work with a girl who's 29 and she looks like she's 16.
Yeah.
Like nobody looks their age.
No,
Yeah.
not at all.
I think Clark Gable doesn't look terrible.
Yeah, but he looks like 30.
I'd say in this movie, Clark Gable, the actor, is at the age where he can pass for a guy in his 20s or his 30s or his 40s.
like late 20s.
But
mid to late 20s.
but the fact that she's like, "Oh, young man," like when I think of someone calling you young man, I think of like
You have
someone
to be
calling
older.
like a 15, 16-year-old young man instead of like
And they're like-
someone the same exact age. They're supposed to be the same age.
yeah, the person saying it's like 80.
I've even gotten a few young mans, not so much with the beard anymore. The
Young
beard-
man.
The
Yeah,
beard,
but it's probably middle-aged women telling you that.
right. Yeah, there's a disparity.
You're
Oh,
there.
yeah, I get young
What
man
if your
all the time.
girlfriend called you young man?
Aren't you like 2 years older than her?
Yeah,
Yes.
I am. I'm like 4 years older than her. Almost.
Jesus, dude.
That's 3
Fucking
or 4.
cradle
I think.
robber.
I know. I'm just a crazy old man.
Yeah.
But
Oh, young man, I'm your age.
I think her husband could have been a stronger character. He's a non-presence, and I get it because he's not supposed to be good enough for her. But we keep getting told he's not good enough for her, but we never really understand why.
Everyone, her dad and Clark both say he's a fake, and I don't get it.
also, like, how many scenes was he really in?
3.
3.
I thought it was like 2.
No.
Okay, so I must have not realized that he was there in the very first scene.
Well, that's
then.
because he's such a non-presence.
He is such a nut. That's my point. Like, I don't
He
even get
looks
it.
like discount Clark Gable,
That was definitely on purpose.
Yeah.
which is hilarious. Well, it's because everyone back then looked like discount Clark Gable.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
he was Clark fucking Gable.
Yeah.
He is Clark fucking Gable.
But I just cannot believe everyone hated working on it.
What's weird too is like the movie, the end product does not indicate that they went through like a struggle to shoot this movie.
No,
It's
but-
not that there was a struggle to shoot it. It was a struggle to get it off the ground.
Sure, but like the people who say, "Oh, I hated working on this," was like Apocalypse Now. You can
Yeah.
see why, you know.
Well,
Like,
you could see why, but at the same time, they didn't hate working on it because of the people they were working with. They hated working on it because it fucking sucked to work
Yeah.
on. Fucking didn't they leave someone outside for just like a whole week? They used real dead bodies,
LegalDeadCorpses.com.
legal corpses. Like in this movie, there was no real corpses.
True.
Like imagine working with a rotting corpse next to you. Yeah, I'm gonna fucking hate it.
So I guess my point is, by hearing them complain, "Oh, I was stuff to work on," blah blah blah. But like, it was just a script he didn't like.
You know what's a better analogy? Suicide Squad, because Jared Leto was being a dick the whole time.
You know what else it is? Claudette does not like Frank Capra.
No.
She had a terrible experience filming
Yep.
with him before, and I don't know if it improved this time. You know, they might have just not gotten along.
It'd be like people working with Joss Whedon again.
Yeah.
Like no one, everyone's like, oh, he's an asshole.
Yeah, that stuff just came out.
Yeah.
Bad stuff.
What a dick.
Damn, I looked up to him at one point. That sucks.
Same with Bryan Singer.
Yay! Touches
Yay.
kids.
Kevin Spacey! Woo!
It's evolved from don't meet your heroes to just don't have heroes.
Don't
have heroes.
Just don't.
Nope. Not at all.
Don't look up to anyone.
Even if it's a fictional hero, the guy who made him
Don't
is probably a terrible
respect
person.
People
Yep.
don't like people. Just
That's why I only like Hugo Weaving.
Oh God.
He's the best guy.
I can't wait for something to come out.
No, he would never.
I can't wait for something to come out between the recording of this and the release.
No, I
Oh.
love
Jake,
Hugo
if there
Weaving.
is, just slap that article head.
I'm gonna
right
keep him saying, "I
here.
love Hugo
I
Weaving."
love Hugo Weaving. Nothing bad could ever happen. He's Agent Smith a million times. It's so good. I'm gonna give my out of 10,
Okay.
and I think I gave All Quiet a 9. I'm gonna
did.
give this one an 8, bordering on 9. Like it's really close.
I'm feeling an 8 as well. I think this film, it's a toss-up between this and Grand Hotel for my second
I
favorite.
like this better because Grand Hotel has fluff.
Grand Hotel has fluff, but I also I feel like Grand Hotel had more characters to work with, and I'm a sucker for an ensemble.
But at the same time, I feel like some of those characters
Are not
weaker.
as deep as
Yes.
Eileen and Peter. I'll give you
even
that.
even the boss from the last movie. Like I feel like her dad would equate to that boss character, and her dad's pretty well fleshed out, and the
Mm.
boss character
Is not.
wasn't. And he was everyone's main foil. So that's where I go with this movie. With the character work, I agree Grand Hotel has fantastic character work, and it does a lot with all his characters. But one of the most important characters was overlooked, and the acting from every character isn't as good compared to this movie. Both of the mains in this movie are phenomenal. Even the dad's good. Wesley exists. Like, everything about this movie is just good.
You're right.
And Grand Hotel has some audio crunchy.
It is pretty crunchy in some
It
parts.
has that bass boosted meme crispy audio.
Oh, the
Except
montages
there's no bass
and
in the
frickin-
30s movies.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's
But
just
crispy.
crunch.
I really, really enjoyed this. I think I was deliberating earlier, as of like 5 minutes ago, but now I think I'm gonna settle and say All Quiet is still my favorite.
Absolutely.
Oh, guys, so we're doing that thing at the end. All quiet. Cavalcade.
All quiet and cavalcade.
All Quiet and Cavalcade.
Dude, Cavalcade was so
Also,
bad.
Mud, what's your out of 10?
It's 8.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
solid.
think 8's
I can
across the
agree.
board.
Eight's bordering on 9. I think this is
It's
almost as good.
yeah.
I think this is almost as good as All Quiet. I can say it. All Quiet was a little bit more gripping and interesting and like, oh my god, heavy material. And this is more of the lighthearted comedy love story, but I still really liked it.
I think if it had a little bit, if those like just minor problems with the editing and also those weird story beats were polished a little bit, this could have been a 9, maybe
Oh,
a
yeah,
10.
easy.
I agree. That's my
Yeah.
whole thing. That's like the reason why I
if
still
it
have
ended.
I still have All Quiet as my number 1.
Oh my god.
But this movie is so close. It's like a close second.
All Quiet's number 1 just because of its power punch of themes.
Dude, that movie punches you right in the head. Like that's a lot. going
Yeah,
on.
there's a lot going on.
And
in
you
that
know
one.
what's going to be punching us in the head?
Mutiny on the Bounty.
That's
Boys,
next
That
week.
is
We
going to
might
be back to back
good
Clark Gable.
back to back good best pictures. That hasn't happened yet.
Nope.
Well, we don't know if it's good. It could fucking suck.
I'm betting it's gonna be good.
But I've only heard good things, and I've seen a really good scene from that movie.
you know how we talked to the top, it's like not every best picture is still in the zeitgeist.
Mhm.
Mutiny on the Bounty is one of the films that I've heard good things about. You know?
I would say this should be.
I analogize Clark Gable to a movie enhancer. If you put him in, the movie gets better.
like a Boris Karloff.
Like a Boris Karloff.
Or I'll say it, like a Brendan Fraser. The Mummy movies would not be as enjoyable as without
No,
him.
Brendan Fraser makes things better.
He doesn't make everything better. There's
What
no,
doesn't he make better?
Uh,
You're wrong.
Go ahead, say
Damn
Encino
it.
Man. Without him, that's wrong.
Definitely the Mummy.
he helps with those movies, but those movies, I don't know.
But they're better for him.
They're
That's an
better for
enhancement.
him. Yes, in some situations you're right with Brendan Fraser, but
Yeah.
not all. Whereas Clark Gable is like a uniform guy. I've yet to see him in a movie where he makes it worse. You know what I mean?
I've yet to see Brendan Fraser in a movie.
All right,
I've yet to see Brendan Fraser in a movie.
I've yet to see Brendan Fraser.
I've yet to see
I'm thinking about it. all right. We're
George of the Jungle.
We've devolved.
That movie's great.
No, it's not.
We finna do this shit like this. It's like
Doom, and she gets up from the chair. Oh my god.
They're cheating with CGI by having the hair tied up. So I have to animate it.
Oh my god, it's almost like that would be a fuck ton of money.
The skies burn and our oceans boil.
We barely do that anymore. Only Japan does, and we don't like them for it.
She betrayed the throne.
the daughter of Zebel.
I like how you make fun of when actors can't speak and none of us can speak.
Yeah, we cut out when we can't speak.
I don't know. I keep some of it in.
You risked our lives based on something you read in a children's book?
We came from Atlantis, bitch.
Jesus fucking Christ.
I like how he comes here only for the trident, but ends up stealing the dude's armor as well.
I mean, just loot everything.
This is my size of ripped.
Lying ass niggas in your